All right. So, guys, the first couple of examples here are not in your book. We're going to start with some that are very, very simple, things that you've seen before, but we've got to incorporate into it some of the stuff we've been working on. So if we take a look at this problem, what is a restricted value for x? What can x not equal? 0. Okay? So that's the new part of this problem. From here, this is just a proportion. It's a fraction equals a fraction. How do you solve that? Cross multiply. So 2 times 2 gives me 4. And then x times x is x squared. What's next? Okay, the answer is 2, but how do you get that?
Square root.
So when you look at the problem, the answer floats down to you out of the sky. Now, the answer is not just 2. What else is it? Plus or minus 2. So now, x can't equal 0. So are the two answers I got okay? Yeah. So that's your answer. Done. Easy enough. Let's take a look at the next one. This is also a fraction equals a fraction. Is it what? No. No. No, it cannot. Guys, y'all should know by now we start with little bitty easy ones and then we baby step our way to the harder ones. We don't start with the hard question. All right. So what is your restriction for this problem? -3. So now, once again, this is a proportion. I'm going to cross multiply. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then I get x plus 3 times x minus 3. What do I have to do now? FOIL on that right-hand side. And I'm going to end up with x squared minus 9. Next, add 9. Now, square root both sides. And what is x equal to? All right, and my restriction was -3, so that means my answers are okay. You okay? Was it a light bulb that just went off?
No, it wasn't like a light bulb. It was like a Christmas tree. It was small.
Oh, okay.
But
Not a big light bulb, a little one.
like a glimmer of hope.
Okay. All right. So for this problem, what's the first thing I should do?
Put 7 over 1.
Put 7 over 1. So we made everything a fraction. Okay, what is my restricted value going to be? -2. Again, I have a proportion, so let's cross multiply. 1 times 3x minus 1. And then 7 times x plus 2. Let's distribute. Now what? Subtract 3x. This morning, my morning class told me, they said, I got to that problem and I thought it was supposed to be something really hard and I just didn't even know how to do the easy stuff anymore. You feel that? Okay, so now I'm going to subtract my 14. So -15 equals 4x. So x equals -15 fourths. So that is the same as negative 3 3/4 or negative 3.75. My restricted value was negative 2, so is this answer okay? Okay. So with the 3 problems we've seen so far, the new stuff is the restricted values, but then you've got to remember all the old stuff, cross multiply for proportions, square root both sides and it's plus or minus, solve a multi-step equation, and then we're going to get the next one. Anybody still working on this one? Nope. Okay, so for this, I taught it one way second block, and then last block somebody said, oh, I know how to do this one, can I do it? Well, she did it, and it wasn't the way that I taught it second block, but it totally works. So I ended up showing third block both ways. Do y'all want to see one way or you want to see both? Both. Okay. Well, it depends on who you are. I mean, both ways you're going to end up at the same place, but it depends on which way your brain takes you. It's just like some of the problems that y'all put on the board. You canceled out more stuff than my brain will hold. They're about the same. So, I need to know, do you want to figure out how to get common denominators, or do you want to make your fractions go away? Okay? If we're going to make the fractions go away, that's the way I taught it second block this morning. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the things in your denominator, and you're going to start multiplying by them to make them go away. So I've got an x plus 2 and I've got an x. What do y'all want to get rid of first? Okay, so what I'm going to do to get rid of the x plus 2 is I'm going to multiply by x plus 2 only in the numerator, but I'm going to do it for every single term in the problem. Okay, as long as you do it everywhere, it's fine to do that and you don't have to do top and bottom. But look what happens in this term. They cancel. And in this term, they cancel. And now I'm left with 2 minus 1 times x plus 2 over x equals negative 4 over x. Fractions are almost gone. Now I've got to get rid of the x that's on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply every single term in the whole problem by x. And they will cancel here and here. No fractions. It's just an equation to solve. But I forgot to do something at the very, very beginning. Who knows what it is? Restrictions. What are my restrictions? Negative 2 and 0. Okay. So now just solve the equation from here. To do that, I'm going to distribute my negative 1. Did everybody get what I got? But it doesn't work because it's a restriction. So what that means is we can't use this answer. This actually has no solution. All right, so same problem. I'm going to come over here and recopy it. All right, the second option for working this problem is to get common denominators for every term. So what do I need to multiply this first one by? X. And I have to do it on the top and the bottom when I'm getting common denominators. What do I have to multiply this fraction by? X plus 2. And now my denominators are the same. So on the left-hand side, here's what it looks like. Do you need a note back to class? No. Okay. So now, I'm going to put a sticky note on here and write something that will help us figure out where to go from there. Okay? If I have this problem, what does x have to equal? 5. Now, here's why that works. My denominators are the same. Doesn't that mean the two numerators also have to be the same? They have to be equal to each other? So when we're looking at this problem, my denominators are the same. So that means this numerator has to equal this numerator. So I'm just going to write down the first numerator over here equals this one over here. And aren't I at the same place? And then you can finish solving it the same way. So, how many of you think you want to continue to get rid of fractions? How many of you are going to find common denominators? Okay, whichever way you like better, they both work. All right, so let's try this one. Okay, what I want you to do is pick the method you like. Try to work it on your own. I'm going to pause and freeze everything up here. And I'll work it one way. If I can, I'll work it both ways. And then we'll compare in just a minute. All right, guys, so mine's not finished, but I've got it started both ways. And I stopped where I got them to where they looked the same. So pick whichever method you decided to try and see how you did. All right, so last problem. What I want you to do with this one, go ahead and either get rid of your fractions or get common denominators. When you get to the point where you have no more fractions or you're just looking at the numerators, I want you to stop because this problem's a little bit different. Okay? All right, guys, at some point, everybody should end up with this. Okay, good. You're supposed to. Told you these weren't as bad as you thought they were. So now, let's get rid of our parentheses and combine like terms. All right, all of my parentheses are gone. I've combined like terms. What is the what? Right there. And then I combined it with this. X and 2x gives me 3x. And there's my negative 1. All the way. There we go. Yes.
I had friends that had them yesterday, and they had homework for 8.5 in the workbook. Do we have that?
My classes are all off schedule because of the lockdown, and then one day I had to leave half a day, so some are doing one thing, some are doing another, till I can get y'all back on track. No. All right, once we get to here, I need somebody to tell me what we should do next. Well, these have x squareds in them, which is what? Okay, so because there's an x squared in the problem, I'm going to want everything on one side so it's equal to 0. So I'm going to move my x squared over, so subtract it from both sides. I'm also going to go ahead and subtract that x from both sides, and I'm going to add the 2. And that way, on the right-hand side, everything cancels and I get 0. On the left, I get x squared plus 2x plus 1. You can factor. What else could you do? Quadratic formula. What else? What about completing the square? It is a square double square. Could you use the graphing calculator? Okay, if you graph it, what are you looking for in the graph? Where it touches the x-axis. Could you look at the table? What are you looking for in the table? When y is 0. You could also use that calculate 0 thing in the calculator. Yeah, George? A bit. Somebody grab the door, please. All right, I'm going to factor this because it factors pretty quick and easy. So I'm going to get x equals 1. But I didn't do my restrictions. Yeah, let's go back up here to the top. What are my restrictions, by the way? So my restrictions are -1 and -2. Can my answer of -1 be okay? No. It's -1 is a restricted value, so I can't use it. So this one is also no solution. Yeah.